Let's have a talk, let's have a chat, talking about a little this and that.
Hello and welcome to another episode of This and That. I am your host, Mary Easterling, and today we are hosting Daughter of Zion Eternally. But before we begin, to listen to anything else from This and That, go to talkingaboutthисandthat.wordpress.com and click on the podcast link. To listen or to see anything from Daughter of Zion Eternally, go to daughterofzioneternally.wordpress.com and enjoy. She has a lot of stuff up there. She entitles this, When Theocracy is Confronted by Democracy. Korah's rebellion, she writes. That was bad enough. But he had help. 250 men of the leadership, for there were the leaders of over tens, 50s, hundreds, thousands, and 10,000s. That's a lot of people. Numbers 16, 12 through 14. Then Moses sent a summons to Dathan and Abiram, the sons of Eliab, and they said, We will not come up. Is it not enough that you have brought us up out of a land flowing with milk and honey, to have us die in the wilderness, but you would also lord it over us? Indeed, you have not brought us up into a land flowing with milk and honey, nor have you given us an inheritance of fields and vineyards. Would you put out the eyes of these men? We will not come up. Okay, it's bad enough that they want a democracy in the midst of a theocracy. But then they twist the ideology. Egypt is now seen as the quote-unquote land flowing with milk and honey, whereas the truth is that it had been the quote-unquote land of bitter bondage. Sure, they had provisions, but at what cost? That's the first twist. The second is blame Moses for their disobedience. They could have gone up if they had only trusted in God. Now, they were absolutely to die in the desert. They had, by their disobedience, sealed their fate. But no, they were not going to accept the responsibility and perhaps repent. No, they were going to shift the blame. Would you put out the eyes? I mean, now that's a statement. Is it possible that Egypt did that to those who they didn't like? Did they punish them like that at the Pharaonic court? Or like, where does this statement even come from? They have seen the two sons of Aaron die for stepping out of the order of God when it was not pleasing to him. They had heard God speaking in what would be the first of the great 8 trumpets of God speaking, sounding, as it were. They had shrunk back. So now we see the frailty of humanity in these people, crass idolaters as well. But still, this is about rebelling against a lawful government, mistaking what they thought to be authoritarian of the authoritarianism of one man for the authoritarianism of God. This is a costly mistake. Korah, who had risen up from within the priest ranks, with Dathan and Abiram, who were amongst the people, these had swayed 250 others to become part of this, and who knows, they might have been amongst those who were setting out to return to Egypt. And now they were going to see what kind of government they were actually under. So Numbers 16, 20 through 22. And the Lord spoke to Moses and Aaron and said, Separate yourselves from among the congregation, that I may consume them instantly. But they fell on their faces and said, O Lord, O God, God of the spirits of all flesh, when one man sins, will you be angry with the entire congregation? Full stop. When you say congregation, think nation. This isn't Jacob and sons with wives and grandkids schlepping into Egypt. No. The long lost reunion between the old man and the son he thought he lost. Right. This is 12 tribes that have been in Egypt for over 400 years. I mean, they even managed to thrive when a pharaoh rose up and decided that, that's a lot of people. I don't know where they came from. I hear this story about the guy who was the vizier but I don't know about that. I don't know that it was, if we have an enemy come in and these people turn inside, they will destroy us. And the more they put them in bondage, the more kids they had. I mean, then there was Shipra and Puah, and these are the Egyptian midwives. And Pharaoh says, if it's a boy, throw it in the Nile. If it's a girl, keep it. And these two women were pro-lifers. Egypt's first pro-lifers. And they no, they weren't going to do it. So when Pharaoh summons them, they went, well, Egyptian women are so dainty and so delicate. These Hebrew women, they're hardy. They're greased. They just spat those sprogs out faster than we can get there. I mean, what do you want us to do, Pharaoh? Grab the kid off of mommy's breast? Bash him in the head and throw him in the Nile? Oh, we'd like to stay alive. I mean, the women might not kill us, but the men will. Pity. Of course, you know they left with the nation. Two good midwives like this, God found them homes. They fell out of favor with Pharaoh. They weren't Egyptian anymore after that. So the Hebrew people said, you good people, you're staying with us and you leaving with us. Yeah, they left with them. Okay, so this is a lot of people. And God, and now Daughter of Zion eternally continues, now God did this before when they made the golden cow, the golden Hathor. This is telling us that he sees the hearts of this people and repents of the choice that he made to save them at the business with the cow. But he doesn't consume them. Why? Moses. But God, the nations will say, he took them out of Egypt and brought them in the desert and didn't have the power to deliver and couldn't keep them, and so he killed them. I mean, what would that look like? That your reputation. God, your reputation. Right. They, as a people, never do quite accept this rule, this government, this theocracy. But he kept relenting over and over at the intercession of many people, but in this case of one man, Moses. In this case, it's Moses and Aaron that are on their faces. Right. So it continues. Daughter of Zion eternally writes, Numbers 16, 23 through 24, then the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Speak to the congregation, saying, Get back from around the dwellings of Korah, Dathan, and Abiram. Now the rest is history. Indeed, the people listened and did as they were told. The angry men with families, instead of repenting, stood defiant, challenging the men as to what they would do. The earth opens and the entire three of their households are dropped into the rift, and the earth then closes. This is precision crust shifting of the planet to devour alive three families to make a point. You see, they saw the pillar, they saw God, but they remained stubborn against this God. God ruled directly amongst this people in those days, and today we have an opposite reality, an unjust and unlawful government that we elected that is attempting a modified theocracy in the United States. But that is not the right government. For this is a democracy as a republic. The people were corrupt in that day. This government is corrupt in this day. In that day, justice rained down, and she ends with, and it's starting here now. This does sound familiar. This is Christian nationalism trying to effect a theocracy in a democracy, which isn't going to work. But in this is, a theocracy is authoritarian, totalitarian, communistic, socialist, everything but democratic. Absolutely everything but democratic. The people have no voice. None at all. Absolutely none. Aren't you glad that he's a good God? Now, I'm going to say that we have done we're going to try and do double mic'd podcasting. So we've got something called Voice Meter. I'm having to use it just to do this because apparently now that I've installed that, it's the only thing that will talk to my recording software. So now I'm not sure if I have true stereo here or not. So anybody who listens with headphones and suddenly only hears me out of one side, I'm sorry. Still working on stuff. Starting to regret my life choices. Yes, we want to try a team podcast called Behind the Pastors. I don't know when this is going to happen. I don't know if this is going to happen. And I don't know if I'm going to get this thing off my computer and just go back to doing what I'm doing right now. But having said all that, that will do it for this episode of This and That. Hosting Daughter of Zion eternally. So, until then.